Hello, welcome to the podcast of the J.R. Stewart. And this podcast is my attempt to answer a question from one of the Eves. So thank you so much for watching, for supporting my channel and my effort. So the question is, how do I know when to call it quits in a relationship? Deciding when a relationship is over can be a challenging and emotionally charged process. So here are some signs that may indicate it's time to consider ending the relationship. Okay, let's get started. Here's my top 10 list. Number 1, lack of communication. If communication is broken down and attempts to discuss important matters or feelings result in constant conflict or indifference, it may be a signal that there's a deeper problem. Number 2, repeated betrayals. Trust is crucial in any relationship. If there are repeated betrayals such as lies, infidelity, broken promises, it can erode the foundation of trust. I've said this many times before in my Chronicles of Eve series, Ways of the Caveman and the Ways of the Warrior. Women die from 1,000 cuts. All the little lies, betrayals, all the promises you made, you break them. That's a cut. Men need to understand that. Number 3, unresolved issues. Here's one that I'm going to give you. I've said many times, especially in the Ways of the Warrior series, that your happiness is on the other side of problems. Men, if you want to be happy in a relationship, you have to learn to solve problems. Chronic unresolved issues or ongoing conflicts that persist despite efforts to address them may indicate a fundamental incompatibility or inability to find a common ground. Your job in a relationship, men, is to create order and peace. So you have to find a way to solve the issues and resolve the issues. Number 4, emotional distance. If there is a significant emotional distance between couples with a lack of intimacy, affection, or emotional support, it may suggest that the connection is weakened. Guys, I'm here to tell you that this issue can be resolved. I hear this issue all the time from men, that their sex life is pretty much falling off a cliff and they don't know what happened. Seem like much more affectionate and close when you're dating. Now that you're married, children, everything is it has to be planned, or there are a lot more times I'm not in the mood to have a headache or not feeling well. Well, you know what? Clients that I coach have the opposite problem. They started with this problem, and by the time we're done with their coaching, they have the opposite problem, that their sex life is too charged. She's overly sexed now. When you love a woman the correct way, the way God intended her to be loved, then a lack of intimacy is not your problem. Your problem is trying to figure out something my clients call the blue chews. I don't know what that is. I guess it's some type of chewable candy, like Viagra type candy that you can chew. That's my assumption. But lack of intimacy is not their issue once they learn how to love correctly. Number 5, different life goals. This is one that's very tricky, guys, and women. Women will generally follow you to the ends of the earth, provided they understand the value proposition and following you. You have to make sure that you're a very good leader. You love according to the way God has instructed you to love. You provide authority and leadership. You rejoice over her. You bless her. And you guys having different life goals or divergent life goals, values, visions of the future that cannot be reconciled. Of course, that not being able to reconcile your differences can lead to irreconcilable differences. I guess I even mean the word. But you don't have to worry about this problem if you love her correctly and provide the leadership and direction that you're supposed to. This generally happens when she can no longer trust you, no longer believe in you and have faith in you, that she then begin to have to plan her own life, set her own goals, and look out for herself because she feels that you can't look out for her. Number 6 on my list, lack of personal growth, which I just kind of alluded to a little bit, so this is a good segue. A healthy relationship should encourage personal growth and individual fulfillment. If the relationship becomes a hindrance to personal development, it may be a sign of unequal, unhealthy dynamic. What I mean by that is that you have to be supportive. In the Chronicles of Eve series, I did a whole segment on support, and now you have to be supportive of your wife's goals, her career, and things she wants to achieve also. Don't just think this is all about your career and your goals and your development. It's really about both of you. But as the leader of the household, the leader of the home, you have to make sure that our dreams and our aspirations are fed also. Number 7, consistent unhappiness. If one or both partners within couples consistently feel unhappy, unfulfilled, unsatisfied, despite efforts to improve the relationship, it may be an indication that the relationship itself is not healthy, that it's sick, and that you need help. And this help is something that I can certainly help couples with before it goes too far and becomes too unhealthy where you can't repair it. But before it gets to that point, excuse me, please go to my website, djrstewart.com. Find my information, reach out to me if you need assistance. Number 8, abuse or toxic behavior. Any form of abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, psychological, it's a clear sign that the relationship is unhealthy. It may need to end for the safety and well-being of those involved. People, if you're at that point, I mean, really, if the relationship has really become toxic and abusive, then you have to find a way to do the right thing and maybe end the relationship. Maybe it's not worth saving. But if it is worth saving, I mean, and both parties are willing to dig in and make some changes, those changes really just involve doing it the way God wants you to love. God doesn't want you in an abusive relationship, either dishing out the abuse or receiving the abuse. That's not part of God's plan. So this is one of the first things, because this is dangerous. Somebody can get hurt, or maybe not just physically hurt, but psychologically, emotionally hurt, which is damaging also. So if you find yourself in this situation, then you have to take a break. And you either both have to absolutely determine to fix this, or you absolutely need to sit down and plan a way to separate for your own good. Number 9, contempt and disrespect. This is one I get from women quite frequently. They feel disrespected in the relationship. Constant feelings of contempt, disrespect, or resentment towards each other can poison a relationship. Let me say this. I don't know very many relationships that grow when we have this element. Years ago, I ran across an article, I think from the University of Minnesota, I'm not sure. But in this article, this professor predicted that he could tell if a marriage was going to last or not based on how people fought. And if the fighting really became really negative, personally negative, then if it was more than 3 of these a year, then there's no way it was going to last. So I say even 1 is too many times. If you feel that you're being disrespected in a relationship, once again, the answer is obedience to God. God has a formula and a methodology and a way that men are supposed to love their wives and what wives are supposed to do in return for that love and that obedience. If you don't understand what that is, please reach out to me. Then number 10, lost connection. If the emotional, physical, or intellectual connection that initially brought y'all together, that fire, that little, even if it was a spark, whatever it was, if it has faded and attempts to resolve it have been unsuccessful, then people, you need help. Sit down and pray. And your prayers can be answered by going to one website, djrstewart.com. I hate to keep touting myself and beating that drum beat, but it's true. And there's nothing that I do that's magical. I haven't gone to school for counseling. In fact, I'm an engineer architect. So you may want to say, well, what's an architect know about relationships? Well, I know quite a bit. And what I know is how God wants you to love, and how God wants you to be loved for women and how God wants you to love for men. If you do those things, I promise you, just like Christ promised you, that if you follow in his footsteps, he says, I am the light. And if you follow my footsteps, you will never walk in darkness again. Never. It was the promise. So I'm here to tell you that promise is true and is real. If you just learn how to follow the dictates, learn how to be obedient, and live your life accordingly, it will forever and fundamentally change. Before making any decision, it's crucial to consider seeking guidance by going to my website, thejrstewart.com. I can provide valuable insights, help navigate difficult conversations, and assist in determining whether the issues can be addressed or if it's in the best interest of both individuals to part ways. Ultimately, ending a relationship is a deeply personal decision that requires careful reflection and consideration of both parties. Also, if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and then share the link or share the video or repost it, whatever the correct term is. It would be much appreciated to help me get this video out to as many people as possible. And I want to thank once again the viewer X, who asked the question and sent it in and wanted me to reflect on it. So thank you so much, and I hope that the video has been of help and assistance to you. And I hope that you were asking this for general conversation and not because you're going through any of this. But if you are, Madam X, if any of these things apply to you, I am ready and willing to work with you and your significant other to help you guys work through this so he can become an Adam to you and you can become an Eve to him. And once again, what God brings together, let no man separate. Thank you so much. Bye.